Welcome to TB Talks. I'm Tyler, and thank you for joining us. This is episode 3 of a talk show where I interview a guest in the community, and we talk a lot about comics. But first, we start out by getting to know them a little bit. And this week, I am happy to have my guest, Mr. SithLordly. How's it doing, Sith?
Yo, man, that intro music was dope. I need to get you to like make me a clip or something.
I do my best, man. You know, I mean, what else can I use my very expensive graphic design degree that I'm not using for my job, you know? But yeah, man, I'm super excited to have you on the show. You've been, you know, a good member of the community for me, shouting me out, you know, helping anybody and everybody. I think, you know, that's one of the things that I really appreciate, especially as someone newer, you know, that you're out there and you're always on other people's streams and you're always shouting out little guys like me. So I really appreciate it, man.
Bro, I appreciate you bringing me on. I mean, the last time we hung out, we were both pretty smashed. Had a great damn time. And, you know, I mean, like, as far as you know, with your channel, I mean, you're making great content, like slick graphics, like you said, man. You're already like pro. So
I don't know about that. I mean, like I said to you earlier, I said, I'm not up to the 7-hour streams like you yet, but we'll get there eventually. You know, it just takes time, but it's a lot more fun. You know, I really, when I started my channel, I didn't think I would be into the live stream thing. And as I've done a few of them and done some myself, it's like, it's a lot of fun, you know?
Yeah.
So I get it now, you know. Before I was kind of like, that's not really for me. I don't want to be on stream. I don't want to, you know, hang out and talk with other people. And now I'm like, man, this is awesome. So
yeah, it's all about that party life, man. And, you know, I see all of our friends in the chat and, you know, they're lighting it up in there.
Getting ready to say, man, you bring the people out. Like, this is crazy. You know, I've only done 2 of these, but this one's definitely, as Lady Sith says, we deep. Happy Friday. What's up, Lady Sith? And you're going to have to tell me, is this Jamira's?
I just call him J2, man.
J2. What's up, J2? Yep. We got Lewis Shadow Rabbit, Clay Guy. He's awesome, man. Yeah. I see him making all these crazy. Sparks was on one of the, I think it was on Panels and Pints with us, and he showed off a cool one that Lewis made for him. It was awesome. Yeah. Man, we got a bunch of people in already. Let's see. We got Dino. Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. What's up, man?
The first guy I met from the UK crew, actually.
I know. He was one of the first ones I met too. And we got Moonlit Comics. Hey guys, happy Friday. What's up?
She's one of our street team, actually.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Awesome. She gets the word out. And yo, Phil, man, he was just on Team Nerd Herd US version last night.
I know, it's so funny. I'm always like, wait, is it the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club or is it Team Nerd Herd? But
exactly, man.
Hey, they need to do a crossover episode, man.
Yeah, man.
You got to get them all together. We also got Adam from Comic Bound. He was my last guest. What's up, Adam?
We had some good chats today on Instagram.
Yeah, Adam's a great dude, man. He was a lot of fun to interview, and I've talked a lot with him backstage and stuff. We got Comics and Pops. What's going on, SithLordly?
There you go. Team Nerd Herd right there.
Yes, man. We are deep for sure. We got Lon Espinoza. What's up, fellas?
Yo, man. What's up, Lon?
I think I hit everybody so far, but so a lot of you guys are new. You know, maybe haven't seen this show. Like I said, I'm just trying to get to know people. I am really new to YouTube, and I've been in and out of comics my whole life, but I never like really fully jumped in, you know, with both feet. So now I'm really getting into that in the last like year and a half. And so I'm trying to reach out to people that have been in it longer than me, you know, people that have big collections, people that have a lot more knowledge than I do, and just kind of picking their brain. You know, one of the things I wanted to do with this channel is get to know people through like an interview style show. So this was kind of my way of doing it. And we have, like you said, last time we chatted, we were under the influence for sure.
All right.
So
hey man, I'm getting there again. So.
Well, I was gonna say, so Sith has his normal, Michelob Ultra. Shout out to Michelob. When are you gonna sponsor this man? Like, get this man a sponsorship for
Let's
sure.
do it. And the best part about this is my in-laws, Alan and Carla, bought this for me.
Awesome, man. So. I brought out the good stuff for you. I brought out some Blanton's. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but we have some history to go over. But first, starting out, Sith, I know you're in California, right? Are you in Los Angeles area, or are you somewhere outside of Los Angeles?
Look at the hat, bro. Look at the hat.
All right, I'm just making sure. People can be fans from other cities.
Let me just tell you. Okay, so I grew up in LA.
Okay.
Spent most of my life in LA, but the work is difficult in LA, so I moved a little bit south to Orange County, right? Okay. You've heard of Orange County because of Disneyland, the Angels.
Yep.
And that's where I'm living with Lady Sith now. And I love it here, man. It's awesome. It's very kickback. When I was younger, man, that LA nightlife was the place to be. But now, I'm kind of older, and the wide roads is nice, lack of traffic is nice. And so I'm just about 50 miles south of LA in Orange County.
So that takes like 17 hours to get to LA.
Right? Exactly, bro.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Bro, it's crazy.
Hey, Lady Sith is on board for the Michelob Ultra sponsor, man. Hey, reach out to them. You never know, man. Maybe they'll hook it up. So what is it like living in LA though? Like, growing up there, it's got to be insane because there's just so many people. Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah. It was the best. I got to give a shout out to Real Route 6, one of my G's. He's in the chat, right?
Right there.
He and J2, man. These are homies for life. So growing up in LA, right? You see, I'm a big fan of hip hop. Mm-hmm. So you got Eazy-E behind me. Definitely. And so you want to talk about like living in LA when that hit the scene, right? When Eazy-E and NWA hit, LA Raiders, not just a team but a lifestyle. Notice it doesn't say Las Vegas Raiders; it says LA Raiders. That's my team. It was fantastic, bro. Like, just growing up there, integrated with society, it was just, I had so many friends and, played all kinds of sports, went to all kinds of exciting events, love sports, right? So saw all the Dodger games and, Lakers, Raiders, everything. But you grow up quickly, man. That street life, it can be tough. Right. And, you kind of like, it depends on like what circles you end up in. I kind of floated in all kinds of circles. I'm cool with everybody. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
But I ended up working in entertainment of all things.
I've heard you say that. And I would assume that out there's, a lot of opportunity, but it's probably pretty tough to, get in somewhere because there's so many people vying for those spots.
You know what? They say it's all who you know, and that's exactly what happened, right? I went to, let me know if I'm jumping ahead of your questions, but
no, go ahead.
After I got out of high school, barely, because I was doing some bad shit. I went to college and ended up getting a degree in psychology of all things, right?
Awesome.
But I was like, I don't want to be a psychologist. I want to be in music as a musician or working in the industry. And my neighbor happened to work for Capitol Records. And you've seen the tower, right? The big tower.
Yeah.
So he ended up getting me a paid internship over at Capitol Records. Awesome. And I was working on like dope music, like the Beatles, Pink Floyd, Frank Sinatra.
Wow. What were you doing there?
It was publicity, man. So like, when they do a reissue, right? And this is stuff I haven't even ever talked about on a stream to this detail.
Well, see, I went to school for graphic design. So this is, making marketing and that kind of materials and, product and all that stuff. That's awesome. Were you involved in like actually the design side, or were you in like a promotional?
Getting the word out.
Publicity.
Okay. So basically, let's say there's a new like a Pink Floyd, anniversary special or whatever they release, we've got to get word out to the media. Hey, there's a new, and I'd write the press release, and then like my boss at the time, she'd just sign it from her name, right? I would write it. Yeah. And so that went on for a while.
You do the grunt work and they take the credit,
exactly.
Right?
But imagine being like, 23 years old working in the Capitol Records building, right? In Hollywood, that you drove past all your life.
Yeah.
And I was a musician at the time, right? And so I'm trying to play both sides. And so I would put my flyer of my band that's gigging in the elevator, and they take it down immediately, right? They'd be like, no, you can't
get
do
some
that.
free publicity, man. And
I
they're
know,
just
man. So I did that. And then what happened was, I mean, that was kind of like, just kind of an internship, but my boss, she was super cool. And her boyfriend was an entertainment manager, and they had an opening for an artist to go work directly under him in management. So I went over there, and my role changed to more promotion, right? Like, so imagine when an artist releases a single, right? We're dropping the single on this date. You got to break this single at radio. I would be the guy that would call all the radio stations and be like, yo, we need you to, and that would be an interesting conversation, because sometimes radio stations want something, you got to do some trades and things like that.
And I don't want to, presume your age, but I think it's probably different nowadays than it was back then.
Yeah.
Because this was still when radio stations were a thing, like
exactly. This was the 90s, man. And I don't work in that industry anymore because of the digital downloads, right? That really changed the way things were going. But I ended up getting 4 gold records out of it, man.
That's awesome, man.
I ended up getting the band that I was in signed to a record deal, but then I left that band too. So
that's the dream, though. I mean, I play guitar, and I play in a band, and it's cool, nothing like serious. It's just, bar gigs, and it's my mom or my dad, my sister, my best friend plays drums. Like, we just go out and gig, and we have some stuff, some originals and things like that, but mostly covers. But it is a lot of fun. And I mean, if you're in that lifestyle, it's tough. Like, people don't understand how much work a band is. Like, it's not the 2 hours that you're playing at the bar. It's all the practice and everything, and getting your shit on stage and unloading it, because you don't have roadies or anything like that when you're gigging. You're like, you got to load all that shit up yourself.
Well, I will say, right, okay, first of all of that production work directly helped me out with running Spine Ticks. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Being in a band, bro, there's a lot of personalities in YouTube. Making sure that you got your starting lineup, because, I got, 10 guys on the show, right? Dealing with all the personalities. That helps.
I don't know how you do it, man. Like, you got so many people on there, and you're running chat, and you're hosting. Like, I applaud you for sure, because I've only done 3 of these, and I can't imagine doing what you do.
And then, as far as like approaching talent, writers and artists and things like that, I mean, I worked in the music business promoting, like Olivia Newton-John and all those kind of, like, I mean, I don't fanboy over anybody, right? It's like, to me, it's about mutual respect. I obviously appreciate the work of writers and artists, but, I'm not going to basically, bend over backwards and compromise myself for a kind of an uneven situation. So I like partnerships is how I call it. So, I think all of that prepared me to maybe Spine Ticks was the result of all of that. That was meant to be.
I mean, that's the way I look at it. Everything you go through in life is just, a step to the next thing. And, whether that is something that you've wanted your whole life, or you have no idea what the next step is, this is kind of me with this, I have no idea where this YouTube thing is going. I just wanted to do it, so I started it. But real quick, Highland G, I saw you. What's up, man? And then we got Hood Rat Comics. What's up,
man? Hood Rat.
Team Nerd Herd in the house again, man. You're just bringing people out. It's the music business is, I live in Louisville, Kentucky, and we're not too far from Nashville. Go to Nashville all the time. And that's, obviously the country music hub, and see a lot of that, and people that either, have played there a lot and moved to Louisville, or, you go down there and you see, and like every person in every bar is an amazing musician. And they're playing for free just for tips. And like, you're like, man, these guys would be great anywhere else in the country playing music. And it's so eye-opening as someone who plays music to go down there and be like, wow, these guys are really fucking good. And they're just trying to make it, you know what I mean? But that's a rough life, the music industry.
What style of music do you play, bro?
I mean, I play acoustic guitar, and I play rhythm. So like, we play like a lot of blues, country, rock type stuff. And like, I got it from my dad. I grew up listening to him and listening to, Neil Young and Little Feat and all old rock basically around my house. And it was it prepared me to play music all my life. So I've played I played a bunch of instruments. I played piano, percussion in like school. I played bass for a while. I played electric guitar for a while. I played, all these different things, but guitar was the only one I stuck with. And I can't carry a tune in a bucket, so no, that's never happening. But
70s classic rock is one of my favorite genres,
Yeah.
and there's some country crossover. Definitely love that. And actually in the music business, one of our biggest hit that we promoted was by country artist Martina McBride, if you've heard of her.
Yep.
She sings a song called Valentine, which was written by Jim Brickman, who I directly worked for. So
That's
that was
awesome, man.
Yeah, we got that to number 3 on the chart, man.
Well, this is how this show goes. This has nothing to do with comics, but have you ever heard of a guy named Jason Isbell? Do you know him at all?
I don't, but it sounds familiar, but I don't.
He was in a band called Drive By Truckers, and they're kind of like I don't know, like it's a country rock, progressive rock type band, but and then he dropped out, split up from them, and started his own career. And he's one of my favorite artists, but he's very blues, rock, country inspired, and he's great. He's won a couple Grammys now at this point. And if you ever want to check out some great music, that's someone to check out. But as we're talking about all this country and all this stuff, we have a little bit of a connection. I live in Kentucky, and you have family way, 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 way back from Kentucky, right? Is that correct?
We are Kentucky brothers, man.
Who knows? We might be very, very distantly related. Hey, Hood Rat, what's up, man? He knows Jason Isbell. Yeah. I've seen them like 8
Hood Rat's
times.
a guitar player as well.
That's crazy. See, that's what I think.
And Dean is too.
Dean, my God, how many guitarists do we have in this community? I don't know.
Probably a few others too. And J2 he actually went on tour. He was a hip hop artist.
That's so crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there's any crossover with like creativity and comics or anything like that, but so we had spoken previously, and you said you have like great grandfather was from Kentucky. Is that right?
That's right, man. Actually, this book right here,
Came Prepared.
That's one of my 8th great grandfathers. His name is Thomas Walker. He explored Kentucky before Daniel Boone. Actually, that's him right there.
That's awesome, man.
I never knew this information like up until about 7 years ago or so. He actually served in the American Revolution in some function. The very first Kentucky cabin was his, right? There's a high school named after him. There's a Wikipedia entry. You can go enjoy that. You have to look at Thomas Walker, the explorer. And it's pretty amazing that this guy is my 8th great grandfather, which we have many.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. But like, you showed me a picture of that book on Instagram, and I went and looked him up, and I was like, holy crap, he like discovered Kentucky before
he named
anybody else.
Gap.
Yeah. And hey, Jason Isbell has a song called Cumberland Gap.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Phil is volunteering to play Three Blind Mice on a recorder. That's all he can play, but we Phil, maybe on your next vlog, you can do that for us.
Next time on Spine Ticks, Phil.
Yeah, exactly. So did any of your great grandparents or grandparents that you knew, were they already out in California by this time, or did any of them live in Kentucky that you know of?
Well, here's the thing, right? I always tell people I'm Japanese because that's all I knew, right? I'm like about half Japanese. I'm like a quarter Jewish. I knew my parents, and I knew my Japanese grandparents.
Okay.
But when it comes to my father, who was born in Illinois, his mother was from Kentucky.
Okay.
But she was out of the picture when he was like 1 year old.
Oh,
so we knew nothing. All I knew was that I had a Kentucky grandmother with red hair. That's all I knew. And then like in the 90s, she got in touch with us after 40 years. Right. And it was crazy, man. And she gave my dad a few names. We still didn't know anything because, internet still wasn't a thing, really.
Yeah.
But as, you watch those, ancestry.com commercials and all that stuff.
That wasn't around back then.
Yeah. I mean, so I've always been interested in history, right? I love, just go back to medieval times, even before. I just love history. But what I ended up finding out was this book right here, which I was telling you backstage. I bought this off eBay for about $160. Colonel Joshua Fry of Virginia. This is a straight shot from Colonel Joshua Fry all the way to my dad. And this has been floating around since the 60s.
That's so
Colonel Joshua
crazy.
Fry is also my 8th great grandfather. He happened to be George Washington's commanding officer. And it was only because he died that George Washington assumed command of the Virginia Regiment. So that's kind of interesting. George Washington himself is my 4th cousin, actually.
You're such an asshole, man. Like, I don't have any cool stories like that, and you have this crazy history. I mean, I know no one gets to pick who their parents are, but you at least you got some cool history back there.
But bro, I spent most of my life not knowing any of this, right? And so I started digging in. Now, like anything, you've got to verify this stuff. Kind of like when you send a book to CGC, you see those slabs back there, right?
J2 is mind blown right now.
There you go. So what happens is those comics back there, a third party certifies it. Hey, this isn't restored. There's also societies that will certify your lineage, right? So that you don't say, I'm related to, whoever, right? You actually have to go through a lengthy process to validate your genealogy. And that was actually kind of what I was doing, right? I mean, it was music, and then I kind of wound back on the music. Then I got really into this genealogy stuff and there's a whole community, just like how we have the comic book community. This book right here is the Hereditary Register of the United States of America. In here is every single society that you could ever think to join, right? Like, I mean, it tells you like that's the descendants of
illegitimate sons and hold on. Let's highlight this guy. The illegitimate sons and daughters of the kings of Britain, 1950. Wow.
Right.
And there's a society for that. That's crazy.
There's, like colonial order, and it explains, right? And so in order to join, you have to prove your lineage. You have to submit, right? It's easy with you, right? Here's my birth certificate. These are my parents. Here's their birth certificate. Here's a marriage certificate. Here's my grandparents, etc. But, you have to go through the rigorous process. Now, when you get back, I'll show you one thing here. I love
this. This is awesome.
This is probably, I don't want to say my greatest accomplishment in life, but in here we have the Society of the Cincinnati Virginia Eagle, right? Ooh. So I had several ancestors who served the Revolution in Virginia. So thus I joined the Virginia Society. In order to join this society, first of all, George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, and others founded this society themselves. Because after the Revolution, they thought, hey, let's remember our service. Let's form kind of a fraternity. So you had to be an officer to join. And in order to join now, you can be the only descendant, period, of the entire bloodline. So I have 2 ancestors that qualify, but one is already represented. So I joined through another one who was a lieutenant on a naval ship, like an ensign, right? I just so happened to squeak in there. And what's interesting is that title passes down through my firstborn son. So when Lady Sith and I have a son, it's kind of like the closest thing that they have in America to titles of nobility, right? Because it passes down. In order to join, I actually had to write a letter to my father, mail it, and say, I formally ask that you refuse your seat for the Society of Cincinnati so that I may take it. And I'm the firstborn son, and send that in. So it's very rigorous. It's crazy. Read the Wikipedia entry. It's quite interesting about the Society of Cincinnati.
The most I know about societies is like National Treasure, Nicolas Cage, like secret societies and shit.
Oh, I love that stuff, man.
But it is interesting to me. So do they have like meetings and shit, or what? I mean, what do these societies do? Do they do like fun,
bro, there are
charity
meetings. There are they're all definitely charitable, right? There's a scholarship involved with all of it, right? Because you're trying to educate, the future generation. I mean, think about this right now. Like, how many young people are really interested in this stuff? Probably not that many, right?
Yeah.
They're more so the average age, I'd say, for these societies is probably around like 60, 65, something like that. There's scholarships, there's meetings. I just met with one of the guys today, and I said, look, man, I can't do this. And he said, why? I said, your meeting's on Sunday and I do spine ticks and I'm going to be wrecked and I cannot drive to LA for 50 miles in a 3-piece suit to your country club because spine ticks is more important. So
wait, so do they have like chapters in each state or something?
Yeah. So the eagle I showed you, that's the Virginia Society, right? There's a famous landmark in Virginia called Anderson House. So when Lady Sith and I go to Virginia, or DC, we should say, I can stay there for free because I'm a member. So it depends on what organization you join, right?
Yeah.
Think about every war that we've had, World War II, World War I, Civil War. There's a society for all of that if you had an ancestor who fought.
I didn't know any of this. Like, I didn't know any of this even existed. I mean, I always heard about like societies and stuff, but that's
go
so
beyond
cool.
that to like medieval times, right? So we were talking about where comics and history collide.
Hold on, so, Moonlit wants to know, is there a Maryland society you're part of too?
Yeah, actually, I belong to the First Families of Maryland because I had ancestors.
Okay, hold on, how many societies are you a part of? Can you reveal that information?
Yeah, probably about 55 or so.
Holy shit, 55! Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. But I've since actually, I don't want to say dropped out. I've just reduced my role in all of them because spine ticks, comic books. It was okay to do that when I wasn't running a show and all this other stuff. But
then, well, before we move on, this was one of the questions I specifically wrote down for you. I asked a similar set of questions for everybody, but this was specifically for you. Do you sleep?
Because very little, actually, very little.
Because I see you everywhere.
Yeah,
you're always on people's streams. You're jumping in comments. You're doing all this stuff. You're running all these shows. Like, how the hell you're always commenting on Instagram, doing all this shit, man? When do you sleep?
Well, I guess I require very little sleep. Lady Sith, she's usually in bed before me and wakes up after me. But yeah, I just have a lot of energy, man. I just
his 3 lessons was, hey, man. I think this is crazy interesting because it's like something I had no idea about, and it's in our country, and like I don't know anything about it. Like,
well, I just love history. So we were talking about
there's SithLordly's real title for Remember the Illuminati. There we go.
You know what? That's a funny question. Okay, because I was watching a YouTube stream a few years back about like silver, right? Because I like coins and stuff, and it was like a conspiracy show. I didn't know it. But they started talking about one of the societies I belong to. And they were like, yeah, and so the Baronial Order of Magna Carta is an Illuminati society, this, that, and the other. And I was like, well, damn, because, I'm a member. And I was like, I'm not getting the benefits of it if that's the case, right? But, all of these societies have their upper echelon, within them. But yeah, speaking of comics, so like you have Department of Truth right here, right?
Yep. So I love this cover, by the way. This cover is just
I believe that's Charlemagne, right? Holy Roman Emperor. And so this would be an example of where societies and comics collide, because this here is the Order of the Crown of Charlemagne. So if you can prove your descent from Charlemagne, which 3/4 of Europe basically descend from him, kind of like Asians, 3/4 maybe descend from Genghis Khan.
Yeah,
but if you can actually trace it, right? Because you've heard of Mayflower. You've heard of Jamestown, right? Yep. Lady Sith herself is a descendant of Mayflower passengers. So, and that's not that difficult.
Y'all are like the first family of America. You two are just like the freaking. Hold on, before we get this is. Yes, question of the day: when do you sleep? Then Comics and Pop says sleep's overrated, and Real Root 6 says to be successful, sleep must be sacrificed. I get that. J2's mind is blown. But yeah, it's that's so crazy because with the Charlemagne thing, are you a descendant of Charlemagne as well?
I am, yeah. And it's not that difficult to prove. Okay, here's people think, okay, well, how do you do that? All you have to do is get yourself back to Mayflower or Jamestown, right?
Okay.
And you're talking about the 1600s, right? If you can get back to the Revolution, which a lot of people can, right? Then you just go a little bit longer and you connect to Mayflower or Jamestown. There were a lot of descendants of royalty, right, that are now nobility, who left Europe and came here.
Yeah.
And once you connect to one of those, they call them gateway ancestors. From that ancestor to a king or queen or whatever, that's just a matter of historical record, right? You can look at any history book and trace. So basically these societies, like think of this as CGC, right?
Yeah.
To get this is like getting a slab, right?
Yeah.
I've submitted and it's voluminous work. I mean, like you're sending, like 50 pages of lineage stuff with all kinds of certificates to get it.
And I'm assuming that takes like months of
it takes a while, but I'm pretty good at it. So if anybody's
55, yeah, you better be damn good at it.
Now here's another example, right? We had 2 moons, right?
Okay.
So you got the Civil War, you've got the Pawnee Native American Union soldier. This
Okay.
is very common right here. This is the Sons of Union Veterans. So if you
Okay.
had an ancestor who fought, for the Union during that war,
Yeah.
which I did, then you can. This is my commander's badge, right? Because I basically run a region, right? So that's again where comics and genealogy collide. So I made a post on Instagram and I tagged the writer. I said, you will never see this kind of post anywhere else on Instagram, right? Who's going to have a combination of the Sons of Union veterans and the comic book, right? Because again, the average age is probably like 65, something like that.
So Moonlit wants you to change your name to Illuminati-Lordly because apparently now you're in the Illuminati. And Adam says, I wonder if I accidentally joined the Illuminati. I'll have to double check my gym membership. Yeah, man. I mean, the whole society thing, it's crazy, but I understand what you're saying. There's a lot of that history where you get back far enough and then you can find it. I know the last time I did some project in elementary school or something where you had to trace back your family history, and I think I went back 5 generations, but my let's see, it would have been my great grandparents were from Germany, or maybe 3 greats, I can't remember, but I don't have a ton of Kentucky roots, I don't think. So I don't know if we ever would have any, crossover there. But yeah, it was just funny with me and you chatting and like, hey, you're on the other side of the entire other side of the country. And you're like, hey, you're from Kentucky. I had family in Kentucky. Like, it was really cool. And I always want to, explore it more because it is interesting to hear that history. And, you go all over the state and there's, like you said, Civil War memorials and places of significance. It's not as big as like Virginia or where major, stuff, but it is all over this side of the United States. You can go a lot of places and see a lot of that cool history.
See, and I missed that over here because you think California right now, we did have, Mexican-American War battles over here, but you'd be surprised. We actually have quite a lot of Civil War veterans buried. In fact, Orange County, where I'm in, was founded by Civil War veterans because after that war, imagine, right? That war changed everything. Yeah. So some of those folks are going to come out here. They're going to basically leave. We have a lot of streets and things named after, generals and such. A lot of, so it's pretty interesting.
It's also interesting too, because, we have a lot of, in the comic book community, we have a lot of friends from over in UK and stuff. And, we think about like this and like our country is so young comparatively, like they have buildings that are, 3 times the age of some of ours and stuff like that. And so it is cool to look back on this, but at the same time, realize that like how young this country really is. And that this was not that long ago that all these things were happening. So,
well, see, I'm glad you mentioned that because I find UK history fantastic. So this is Order of the Norman Conquest. This is William the Conqueror, right? This here is the Order of the Garter. So King Edward III, right?
And you're members of all these?
I am, yeah. This is the Order of the Justiciars. So William Marshall, right? He's the ancestor. I joined through that. This is one I talked to Real Rude 6 about last week. This is El Cid. So he's a Spanish nobleman, right? I've always wanted to have Spanish lineage. I finally found it, but you got to go back to like, 1500s, right? To get it. Trying to find some other stuff. So here is, like we have the Constitution. Here's the baronial order of the Magna Carta, right? So that's like a blazer patch. If you've ever watched Raiders of the Lost Ark, remember the Crusader who was there?
Love Raiders of the Lost Ark.
So this would be the military order of the Crusades, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all kinds of stuff. I mean, you just, it's all here.
All right. We will continue this further, I'm sure, in other talks. But yeah, I think it's super interesting. I'm not like, it's funny. When I was younger, I hated history, and then as I got older, I grew to appreciate it a lot more. Just in the fact of like, learning where you came from, and also just seeing how people like. It would be so interesting to me to see how the world was and how people acted and were, how life was at the different stages. I think that part is so interesting. So I've gotten more into like period pieces as far as like novels and stuff like that and things
cool.
like that. I've read a couple more of those, but Moonlit is correct. We are getting a history lesson today.
And let me just leave you with one thing.
Yeah.
I never knew any of this stuff 7 years ago or so. And I never thought that I would have this lineage because, again, I'm Japanese, right? I'm like Japanese, Jewish, Russian. And it's all through my Kentucky grandmother and then all of her ancestors, my ancestors. So if you think that, hey, you know, I probably don't have a connection or whatever, it just takes one little branch. So if anyone is curious, you know, just explore that, because you could find out that you have some connections you never knew about, like I did, right?
I mean, yeah, you never know. And apparently Lady Sith is wants to trace your lineage to witches.
Yeah.
You better watch out, man. She sounds...
Well, you know, I know she's got witch lineage, and because she is her ancestors from the Mayflower, they're all around that. Her ancestor was actually the pastor to the Mayflower Pilgrims back in Holland, right? Because they left England and they went to Holland because they were being persecuted, and then they went from Holland right to Plymouth. And one of her ancestors was their pastor, but he stayed behind, right? And then she had the Fullers, right? Edward Fuller, one of the passengers. But there were, you know, all the witches that were tried. There's actually a society called Son of a Witch. So if you're as a male can prove your descent from one of these New England witches, right, then you can join Son of a Witch.
That whole thing was... I remember learning about that in school, and like, yeah, I know. I was just gonna say, I appreciate the answer, but someone can't remember who I had for breakfast. I've not been able to properly get into it. It was Lady SithLordly Hall. Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll move on from the history because I know not everybody's into that. But yeah, no. I mean, that's why I want to do this, because you know I have no idea where this conversation is going. I just want to talk about shit. So one of the things that we do on this show to get us talking a little bit is my next kind of segment. It's not really a segment. It's just another conversation starter, but it's called This or That. So I'm going to give you two options, and you have to tell me which one you would pick and why. So we'll start out with an easy one. Cookies or cake?
Damn, this wasn't on the list that you sent, huh?
No,
you were like,
yep. You don't know about this.
Well, it would have to be chocolate cake.
Chocolate cake,
specifically chocolate ice cream cake, and then
whoa! Now you're adding shit, man.
I know, bro.
It's cake or cookies. What if you had a plate of cookies, or a cake? You know, at a birthday party. Which one are you picking?
I'm taking cake.
You're taking cake. See, I don't know, man. I'm a cookie person. I don't like cake that much. I don't know what it is. It's all the
societies, and know which fork you're using.
Cookies are easily transportable. You know, they're
What kind of cookies are you eating, bro? That's what I want.
Dude, okay, so my favorite cookies are peanut butter cookies with a Hershey Kiss on top. I don't know what they're called, but those one of my aunts makes them, and they're fucking delicious.
And do you trip like an hour after?
No, not those cookies. Oh my gosh, this is getting a response here. Comic Bound says chocolate cake.
Comic Bound knows.
Oh geez, man, they're rolling in. Chocolate ice cream cake. We have
to pause there. So I have Lady Sith go to the supermarket and buy me a birthday chocolate ice cream cake, even though it's not my birthday, because I love that damn cake so much. She spends like $20 on the thing, and I'm like, I post like, hey, I'm eating this, and they're wishing me happy birthday. It's not my birthday, but I just love that cake. Gotta have it, man.
Man, we're splitting the ice cream cake all day. Hyla G, fresh hot cookies still soft. See, there's nothing better, man.
I'm not gonna push cookies away, but if I'm
Nutter
choosing,
butters, yes. Oh man, space cookies or space cake all day. I'm assuming that's
J2 knows.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Cake is when I'm at a birthday party, I like ice cream, but I don't like cake. I'm just not a cake person. I'll eat a cupcake every now and then, but
we could still be pals.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all right. So that was the easy one. This next one is a little tougher. Zombie outbreak or alien invasion?
Damn. Okay. I like both actually, because I'm kind of like a survivalist, bro. Like, I'm ready. Like zombie outbreak is like that would be like
prepper? Are you a prepper?
Well, as much as you can be in California, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
You guys have fucking like earthquakes and landslides and shit.
I'm like Keanu Reeves, man, in action, right? So yeah. Zombie outbreak would kind of be perfect for like my life. That'd be like, okay, yeah, it all makes sense. Alien invasion would be dope though, bro. Imagine if I can negotiate with them, bring them on spine ticks, become like their homie. Like
you are a publicist through and through. You're like, let me turn this into some sort of publicity.
Bro, I would love, both are great, man. Is it like, which do I not want? What is it?
I don't know. I mean, that's the question. It's just,
I think they would both be exciting.
I think, in the way that I look at this question is, which one would you be able to survive?
I'd survive both.
I feel like zombie outbreak would be more survivable because, like, let's be honest, if aliens came to this planet and it was like an invasion, like they were taking over, or like they landed in California and started getting off their motherships, like they have to have so much higher technology than we have that we're just fucked. Like there's no way that we stand a chance. Whereas like zombies, at least, like, I don't know about you guys, but here in Kentucky, there's a lot of guns. So like we could probably mow them down,
Well, I live in Orange County, man. That's like the Kentucky of California. So
is it really?
Yeah. It is.
Oh, here we go. Illuminati Lordly bringing aliens into spine ticks.
There you go.
I mean, hey, maybe you're already in contact with them. You are in the Illuminati, So
I think I would be like entertaining for them, like if they're thinking about, like they wouldn't want to just wipe us out. They might want some of us as pets.
I mean, yeah, invasion doesn't necessarily mean hostile invasion. Phil, pause. What's more likely to occur? I like to see aliens, but don't want to get probed. Yeah.
After a few pints, he might. Here's the thing too. If I somehow became a zombie, I'd still want to live on because,
really?
yeah, bro. I'm like, I never give up. Like, I would make it the best zombie life possible, right? However, I could do that.
People are too dumb to survive a zombie outbreak. They would stay and die out of dumb principles. Look at COVID. I mean, he's not wrong.
We did have a simulation, yeah.
Exactly. Like you think about that, and you're like,
I can tell you what, we're stocked up on toilet paper, so we did real well with that. Thanks to Lady SithLordly actually went out and like got supplies. Like if there's an outbreak, I want Lady SithLordly on my team. She knows how to hunt.
Okay. So like, obviously looking back, it's a different time, but like at the beginning of COVID, the whole panic buying of toilet paper went on, and we at our house always bought from Amazon like just 3 months of toilet paper at a time because it saves you money, and we would just store it because it never goes bad. Like we just happened to get a box like 2 weeks before all the shit hit the fan, literally. And so we were like, we're good. But like people were like, man, we can't get toilet paper. I'm like, I'm good, man. I got a box.
I think the funniest thing I saw when all that shit was going down was like a square of toilet paper on eBay for like $100. I don't know if it was a gag or what, but literally there was a photo of a square.
Oh my God. That whole thing was crazy. Okay. One more and then I'll let you go. And this one's probably going to be tough for you because, as you said, you're from California, and you grew, born and raised. So this one's a tough one. Jay-Z or Nas?
Bro, neither.
What? No, that's not the question. The question is this or that.
I only listened to gangster rap until about 92 and hip hop because, okay, when J2 can relate, right? When you're a youngster living here and you get caught up in that, you get hyped about stuff, and you might find yourself needing to leave that life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So sometimes you got to depart from all influences and all people. And I had to kind of put all of that on pause. Okay. Right. And I stopped straight up listening to that because it would pump me up and get me excited. And I just like, that was not a good thing where I was living. So I just tuned it all out and I never listened to any of it. So
wow.
Yeah, that's why I'm stuck in a time capsule, bro. That's why I only listen to hip hop from like, 86 to like 93.
And you're saying it's only West Coast rap. Like that's
no, I still love like Public Enemy is dope. Okay. BDP, right? I mean Easy and NWA. I mean that
obviously,
no doubt, right?
Yeah.
Like and that, but I listened to a lot of Public Enemy and Boogie Down Productions and all that stuff. It was all great, but that was the time period that I'm locked into.
Okay, so see that's I think that's where I didn't grow up on the East Coast, but that's why I want to throw this in there to see, because I was wondering, because I see you post all this stuff about West Coast rap and old school rap, and I'm like, I wonder how he would feel about Jay-Z or Nas, because it's definitely a little after that time zone of time period, obviously, but they are still relevant today, and that's kind of what J2 has an answer, and he says Jay-Z dance. Phil's 80s metals kid. That was one of the things, like growing up in Kentucky, it's weird because I grew up in Louisville, a major metropolitan area, in a very, traditionally rural state. And so I got everything, there was, my dad's rock influence, and, there's a lot of country around here, obviously. But then I also grew up, in the city, and I went to public school. So like I had a lot of friends, and, everybody listened to a bunch of different stuff. So I listened to a lot of hip hop and rap and stuff as well. But nice. If I had to pick, it's so tough because like Illmatic is like, I don't know, it's iconic, but like Reasonable Doubt I love as well. But I don't know. I think Jay-Z over the whole career, I think I would pick. But Nas, like Illmatic, Stillmatic, Godson, like the first few albums, I think I would pick Nas for that. But overall, the entire span of the career, I would say Jay-Z. But
nice.
All right.
And, sidebar on that, I actually love, all genres of music. But I don't know if you're like this, but as a musician, right? If I'm listening to something, especially as a musician, I want to play it, right? If I'm listening to like 80s new wave or grunge or something, I want to play it. Because I'm not doing any bands right now, and if I listen to rock music, I want to play rock music.
Yeah.
And that will detract from Spine Ticks. But if I do like the hip hop intro we have for Spine Ticks,
yep,
I just did that on my computer. So
you made that music?
Yeah, I did. So it's oh yeah,
nice.
No worries. That's actually
awesome.
The first hip hop creation I ever did, because I've traditionally been a guitar, bass, keyboard, singer kind of guy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I'm revisiting a lot of my hip hop and saturating myself with it, because if I start playing a lot of rock music, I'm going to want to join a band again, and that's going to detract from Spine Ticks and everything I'm doing right now.
Yeah, it is one of those things that I don't know if you're like me, but for me, music is a mood thing where
totally.
Yeah, I think a lot of, it's a lot of work. Like people don't understand that, getting back to the music thing, but playing music as your career and doing it all the time, like for me personally, that's not something that I would enjoy, I don't think, because I'm a mood player. Like there will be times where I don't touch my guitar for months, but then when I get into it, I'll play it every day for 2 months straight or something. But it is for me, and it is a lot of fun playing live. Like with COVID and everything, we haven't played a gig in a year and a half, so like, and we weren't regular giggers that go out every weekend, but we were, once a month type deal. And you do miss that, to just play in front of people is a lot of fun, because you're playing music and people are dancing, and it is. But yeah, I completely agree. Like you listen to something and you're just like, man, I want to learn how to play that. And it like inspires you. So
I don't know if you feel this way, but being on StreamYard and on YouTube kind of feels like I'm gigging. You know what I mean?
Kind of. Yeah. Because you're interacting with the audience. Yeah.
Right.
It's
just a different kind of way. It's, because I used to be the singer. Like all the things you see me doing on Spine Ticks, I would do on stage. How y'all doing tonight? I would like MC and then sing, play guitar. But instead of doing that, I'm just sitting in a chair drinking beer. I can take a beer piss when I want to. Right. It's middle of the song. Can't take a beer piss.
Yeah, no.
So this is kind of, I don't have to haul any gear.
You know what? Now that you say that, I think that might be one of the reasons why I find it easy to stream, because being in a band, one of the things that you learn really quickly is if you fuck up, you just keep playing. Like, you know what I mean? Like 99% of the people that are listening to you aren't going to notice it, and you just need to keep playing. They're going to notice if you stop or if you really mess up. But like if you just miss a note or play something not quite right, because like I'm one of those people, like if I know I did something wrong, it bugs me. Yeah. But once you get over that and just let it flow and just act natural, most people don't notice that. And so maybe that's one of the things that like makes it easier to stream is like, hey, this is a performance. People know it's live. People know that you're performing, quote unquote.
True.
Maybe, man. Maybe you've been trying for this your whole life.
YouTube has an edit tool, so if you are drunk, and
exactly.
shit. Now Moonlit's saying, "Grab your guitar." Maybe you and I should do a collaboration sometime, bro.
Maybe
I should grab my guitar. Not right now.
At the moment, it is not easily accessible, and it would, yeah. But I'm down, man. Me and you can get together.
We could do a recording about the comic community.
So yeah, I sampled your voice. You were using it wrong. You made a hot line. I made it a hot song. I mean, yeah. See, like that. Okay, we'll go off of the Jay-Z versus Nas thing because
and
that
then
could go on.
Dino had a funny comment about Vanilla Ice.
I know, Dino. We're just blanking Vanilla Ice right now. Cold.
That was big when I was in college.
I mean, yeah, Vanilla Ice. J2 wants a collab.
Yeah,
I actually have a really good friend who's in the hip hop industry. Well, I mean, not industry, but he's making his own music and is about to drop an album, and he's very good. And I'll send you a link backstage and let you listen to him because he's from Louisville and then he moved to Chicago and now he's back. But anyway, we will move on to the actual portion of the show that we're supposed to be here for, which is comics. I mean, we literally have been doing this whole time. We've shown like 2 comics. So
hey man, I'm having fun.
I know, it is fun. One more thing. Let's talk about cards real quick.
Okay.
Because I brought some cards.
Hot dogs or hamburgers question.
No. We're over this or that. Real quick, because you're like huge into cards, man. And I got into it when I was a kid, and then I got out of it, and then I got into it again when I was older. And so I have a few that I just wanted to show off, because I'm trying to, So
is this NFL we're talking?
I'll show you here. We got first thing I want to show off. I'm from Kentucky. I am a University of Kentucky fan. So one of my good cards that I love. This is Benny Snell auto from Luminance. Nice. Let me highlight my guy. Nice. It's a silver auto on card, which is one of the cool ones. Benny Snell was a big guy from UK. Obviously, we're not known for our football, but we're getting a little bit better. Known for the basketball, but basketball for University of Kentucky, like those cards are stupid expensive, like crazy money.
Yeah, all cards are crazy right now.
And but I am more, as far as cards go, a Saints collector. So I am a Saints
Orleans
fan.
Saints?
Yes.
Like Drew Brees? Okay. I like Drew Brees.
My dad went to Purdue. So Purdue is up in Lafayette, Indiana, which is just north of here. But I grew up watching Drew Brees play because my dad went to Purdue. And then I have family down in Biloxi, Mississippi. So like the New Orleans connection kind of made it. And so that's when he went down there.
Did your dad play?
No, okay. My dad played like.
By the way, I have a fun fact for you before we exit the segment. So don't let me not tell you that.
Okay. So anyway, I got some cool Saints cards here. One of the cool one that I just love is this Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas auto out of 50.
Damn, bro.
It's nothing crazy, but Michael Thomas is one of the best receivers in the game. So I got one of these for like $5. I got this patch auto of Traquan Smith, which he's another one of our receivers. So yes, Fuzzy Dunlop, Rex Chapman was a UK basketball player.
Taking it back a little bit, Rex Chapman.
And then I don't have a ton of Drew Brees stuff because one, Drew Brees stuff is fucking insanely expensive, like autos and shit. But I do have a couple cool ones that I wanted to show off. This is a Chargers patch that I got. That's a Fleer one.
Highlight that guy.
Let me do this real quick while we go through these cards.
Because San Diego's only 90 miles south of me, and you remember he played for them.
Yeah. I mean, I watched him, but I wasn't a fan, obviously. And then when he went to the Saints, I became a fan. So I got another cool.
Damn,
I think this one's out of 99 patch. And then this is like the one thing that I've been working on, and you might know this. I don't know if you give a shit about this, but when I was really big into collecting, I was trying to get a rainbow.
Oh, and the parallel. Oh shit! Look at that.
So I have every.
Damn. I'm tripping now.
This is for 2017 Spectrum or Unparalleled. I'm sorry, Unparalleled. I have every single one except the 1 of 1, because the 1 of
Good luck.
1. So this is, you can see it maybe, 4 out of 5. So this is the out of 5 parallel.
Oh, great.
This is the out of 10 parallel. This is the out of 25. 49, 99, 199. Yeah. So I was trying to put together that range. Oh, dropped myself. For anybody who doesn't care about cards, rainbows are when you collect every single one of the different parallels. So if you look at them, they're all the same card, but they have different backgrounds, I guess. These are really shiny and they're hard to show up on screen. But
did you buy those on eBay? Like, what was your method?
So I bought a few of them on eBay. Some of them at the local card shop that we have here. I didn't buy them in packs or anything like that. But I pulled a couple out of like the dollar bin rows, as well. But yeah, I just love the unparalleled cards. They're so good looking, at least back then. The newer ones don't look so good. I don't like them as much, but the 2017 ones were pretty cool. So I know you're huge into cards. And
I am. Yeah.
You are into hockey though, right?
I love it all, man. It to me, it's mood as well, right? And Lon made a funny comment there because on Spine Ticks, one of our guys, Al, pushed a button and disconnected himself from the stream. So that's an inside joke. I pushed a button. So I watch all sports, the major American sports. I try to get more into soccer, football, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just, there's just not enough time in the day. But I collect it all. It's damn expensive.
Blue City Football Club. Woo, represent. Yeah. But
I love hockey probably the most of current sports.
Okay.
Right? Lady Sith and I were Anaheim's Ducks season ticket holders for many years because we just go there and 3-4 times a week and watch the games. I also love the LA Kings, obviously.
Okay.
But I don't dislike any player because as a collector of cards, I'm a collector of greatness and talent. So I don't care if the player plays for a team that's not my team. I will still collect them. Because like Tom Brady, right? I mean, I think the guy's phenomenal, right? So I'll collect his card, right? As a Raiders fan, we had a little bit of problem with him, with that famous game. But still, I just admire collecting talented players of all sports. So
that's awesome. Hockey is the one sport that I never got into that I always wanted to get into because, like, I played lacrosse in high school, which was like a very new sport, even for Kentucky back then. Back when I was in high school, but it was the closest thing is hockey, professionally that you can watch. It's a very similar game. Lacrosse is basically hockey on land.
Translate, yeah.
So I understood, the defenses and the fast subs and that kind of stuff. It makes a lot of sense, but I never just got into it. And like out here, you can't watch it. It's never on TV. Like you have to buy special packages.
I got a website for you, bro.
All right.
Pass it over to you.
But yeah, I mean, and then being in Kentucky kind of sucks because we have no professional sports teams at all in the entire state.
They need to expand. Yeah, man.
There's always been talk about a basketball team, and now that University of Louisville has that Yum Center downtown, and like it's basically like an NBA arena. They've talked about it. They keep talking about it, but I don't think it'll ever happen. I don't know.
So are you like Titans, Predators, Pacers, Colts fan? Like what's your deal?
I am a Saints fan.
Okay.
And then I don't really watch NBA. Never really got into it. I'm just a UK football and basketball fan. And then I do watch soccer, Louisville City. Again with like Premier League, which is like the big thing for football or soccer, that's it's hard to get here. You got to pay for special packages and shit like that. And like I said,
now it makes sense why you're on all the UK streams, bro. You want to be over there.
I would love to go over there and see some. We're actually, my wife and I are going out to Seattle in May, at the end of May, and we're going to try and catch a Sounders game while we're out there because I've never seen, I've never been out west. Honestly, I've been all over this side of the United States.
Come to California, bro.
Dude, I would love to, but maybe next year we'll plan a trip out to California and come hang out with you, man. Because I'm dying to go. I'm dying to go. Phil, Manchester United.
Hey, bro,
No.
we'll take you surfing, man.
I want to surf so
Yeah.
bad. I want to learn how to surf. I've snowboarded, I've wakeboarded. I want to learn how to surf. So I'm down.
I
Okay.
went with Lady Sith's dad, who was a very skilled surfer in Hawaii. Lady Sith has got Hawaiian lineage. And
Awesome.
that was like the most awesome thing was you always hear say shout out to Alan and Carla. I surfed with her father, my father-in-law, after not surfing
That's
for quite some
sick.
time. Yeah, man, it
That's
was awesome, bro. Both of us paddling out and stuff. It was so much fun.
I love, yeah, like that was, I had wakeboarded before the first time I went snowboarding, and the guy was like, "Are you sure you want to go snowboarding?" Like, we went with a group of people, and he was like the only one that was snowboarding. Everyone else was skiing, and they're like, "Most people can't do this. Like, they don't like being turned sideways. Like, they don't. It's unnatural." I'm like, "Well, I've wakeboarded before. It can't be that much different." And he was like, "Okay, you're gonna fall down a lot," and I did. But I picked it up pretty quick, and it was so much fun. And then I was like, man, I want to learn how to surf now. Like, it sounds so much fun. Lon, Seattle resident here, try for a seat in the South stands at the Sounders game. Awesome.
And they're
You,
getting a
Lon.
hockey team, right? They're getting the Kraken.
Oh, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
See, I don't know anything about hockey. I know a couple people like that I used to work with that were huge hockey fans. They were Penguins fans and Rangers, maybe. I can't remember. But yeah, I have a couple of family members up in Detroit that are huge hockey football fans. So, all right, like I said, let's get to actual comics because this is what the whole show is actually about. So, if you haven't seen the show before, I ask people to bring a few comics to represent something out of 5. There's 5 categories, and we're going to go through each of them. So, the first one is favorite art or artist. And before we start this, you threw a little monkey wrench prior to the show and said, "Can I pick old and
then
new,
and now,
or then and now?" Then and now is what you said, and you wanted to bring, I guess, 2 for each of these categories. Is that what you're gonna do?
We'll see what happens, man.
Okay. All right. Well, favorite art or artist, what'd you bring for us?
Oh, damn.
Let me highlight this guy.
If we're gonna talk about artists, okay, you see behind me all that Jenny Frison?
Yep.
So that would be my favorite current artist, right?
Okay.
If we're talking favorite classic artist, then I would say it'd be John Byrne.
Okay.
Right. So here's an example, right?
Oh,
you got the X-Men, First Weapon Alpha / Vindicator. Because I grew, like when I was collecting in the Bronze Age, this was the era, man, getting these kind of books. So John Byrne was the man. I mean, Ramita, all those guys. I mean, but you asked me to narrow it down. So current artist, Jenny Frison.
Now I don't. The only thing I know Jenny Frison from is covers. Does she do interior art on anything, or?
I collect it for the covers. Yeah, I'm not sure what she's done interior wise because it's that whole stack behind me. That's more covers.
Those are all Jenny Frison covers.
Yeah. So I don't know if we were going to make it rain Frison,
No, like I said, I know of Jenny Frison just from the covers, mostly from Something Is Killing the Children. But I know that she does a lot of covers. But I didn't know anything if she did interiors anywhere. Yeah, it is interesting because that era of like X-Men is, I remember buying, like I've told this before, but like, did you guys have Big Lots out there? Or do you?
Yeah, we got one right down the street.
Yeah, like I was trying to explain that to the UK crowd. Like Big Lots is like a discount store where but like back in the 90s, it was even more so. I think like it was like, but they sold little like 5-packs of Marvel comics. I remember as a kid, I would go there and they were like $3 or $4. And
but not anymore, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they would sell them anymore because now comics are actually kind of worth money. But back then, in the 90s when I was growing up and that was like, there was the boom of 90s and like they were just trying to get rid of these damn comics. So I remember getting them and seeing the early not early X-Men, but the 90s X-Men. To me it was early X-Men, but because I love the TV show. You know, I watched the TV show. I played on Sega Genesis. Had X-Men. Oh God, I don't remember.
I'm hearing the
name.
theme song right now in my head.
I know exactly. Like it brings back so much nostalgia of like watching Batman the Animated Series and X-Men and Spider-Man and all those TV shows that all of us kids saw on TV. So that's awesome. But yeah, I would be interested to see if Jenny Prison, because I love those covers. Those covers are amazing. Like
they are, man. We do a Spine Ticks indie segment clip, and it's all Jenny Frison art. I think there's like a Bartel and a Lotte, but for the most part, it's all Jenny Frison.
So do you collect a lot of stuff just for covers, or?
It works out for me that Jenny Frison works on a lot of indie books. Yeah. And that's the majority of what I'm reading these days. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I will grab like that fat stack is actually Wonder Woman and Catwoman and things like that. So like if I own the book, I'll read it, but I wasn't like seeking to read Catwoman, but I picked up an issue and I was like, hey, this is pretty good. Actually, the story was good. So, awesome. I mean, yeah, it just works out with the indie books. I'm like reading all indie books because I got to do a review on it on Spine Ticks. But yeah, she's done a lot of indie books.
I know. I'm going to start going to you for all my indie stuff because I realized when I was collecting that, like I was very in a Batman only sort of world. And then in the last year, I've really jumped into more indie stuff because I found so many good stories and realized how much more you can get outside of like the superhero world. And that's really drawn me in. So
it's kind of like real to life. You know what I mean? It's like adult language, adult situations. It's like a Netflix movie. And Moonlit knows, right? She's part of our street team, and we appreciate her.
Matter of fact, yeah,
she booked us a writer, an indie writer for next week, which is crazy. So thank you to Moonlit for that.
Well, shout out right now. Who's going to be on?
Okay, so we have Jason Douglas, the writer of Parallel on Source Point. That's going to be on tomorrow night, actually. You can actually still buy this digitally in time for the show, and we will highlight all your questions for Jason to answer.
What's the
premise?
No. Sorry. Who? God. Who's the
bourbon's kicking in?
Yeah, it is, man. I'm on my fourth glass right now because we were drinking a little bit backstage. But who's the publisher? Sorry.
Yeah, it's a small company, Source Point Press.
Oh, okay. I've seen Source Point.
Yeah, this is actually the second writer from this publisher that we've had on. We had Jacob Murray, who wrote The Eighth Immortal.
I saw that.
Yeah, a few weeks ago. So this just kind of worked out. But yeah, Michelle Moonlit actually worked this out and sent him our way. So
okay. And Parallel, really you said, what is the general premise of this?
Basically, like, I guess me, a musician, right, who made some life choices and you didn't end up living the life that you thought you were going to live or wanted to live. And you kind of reflect on like where you are now. And I mean, it gets really metaphysical. I mean, there's like a voice talking to the guy in his head that's, him. And even the ending, like I was like, yo, Moonlit, like, did that ending happen the way I thought it did? And she was like, well, I don't know. Like, did it? So it was really gripping. Awesome. I mean, I guess it would be like a graphic novel or a trade.
So it's a thick book then.
Yeah. I read it in 2 sittings and it was awesome. But the thing is, you've seen Spine Ticks. It's kind of a wild show, right?
Yeah.
Everybody in the chat pretty much has been on that show. So when we bring writers on, we want to make sure they're comfortable with that format. And I usually throw them a clip of other writers we've had on partying and hanging out with us. And Jason's down, man. He's down for it. So yeah, he's going to hop in.
That's tomorrow, correct?
Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Pacific.
8 p.m. Pacific. All right, everybody tune in. And you said that you can still get that online digitally?
Yeah, you can buy it digitally at $2.99. I mean, how can you go wrong, man? It's awesome. Like,
I'll check it out.
2 burritos.
I'm gonna download it tonight and then hang out tomorrow with you guys.
Sweet, bro.
So that's awesome, man. Like indies are. I just lean that way so much more, and I've got a couple of those. I started getting those Eagle Moss things from Zavvi, the books from Zavvi, and it's a lot of classic DC stories, and I'm still continuing to read those. But I think my main focus has really been on indies for a long time. It's just the stories are more compelling to me. they hit home a lot more, you know, because like you said, it can be real stories. It's very mature, and they talk like normal people, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but
it's like
J2's
panels of
hyped.
minds.
J2's hyped. It's going to be one hell of a show for sure, man. Check it out. All right, let's move on to our next topic, which is going to be favorite writer or writing. You know, this can be anything you want, and like you said, you're bringing two of them. So,
all right, then Chris Claremont, right? I mean, you can't go wrong with Chris Claremont for X-Men.
definitely.
There was so much great writing in the Bronze Age, and that is actually my favorite era of comics. You were mentioning DC, like I love Bronze Age DC, I love Bronze Age Marvel, I love Silver Age stuff. But I'd say Chris Claremont as a writer back then was my guy. Fast forward to now. What do I got for you?
I just imagine there's like a sea of books around.
Oh, bro!
There's just,
I can't. Like, if I was to pan around, it's like I'm in a storage. This looks orderly. Around me is chaos.
It's a scene from Storage Wars.
Yeah, it is. The thing about these indie books, right, is they're very short arcs, right? So, like, I'm reading stuff right now that's fantastic, but you know, will I like everything from that writer? So, let's just pick two. In fact, I'm gonna take some liberties here. First of all, you got Brian K. Vaughan with Saga, right?
Yes,
and I've read some of his other work too, and it holds up. James Tynion, or how do you pronounce it now? Tynion.
Yeah. I watched the interviews with Ross. Yeah, he pronounced it Tynion. So
Tynion.
Yeah,
but you know, go to the Star Wars, you know, like you're talking, you know, in the early 2000s, right? The Dark Horse runs were fantastic. I mean, even when they started in the 90s up until they lost the license. So you've got John Ostrander here, wrote a lot of Star Wars stuff. You have John Jackson Miller, who wrote a lot of Star Wars stuff. So I would, you know, I mean, I could say Donny Cates, this and that, but, you know, I'm not reading. I mean, it's great when I read it.
Wow, Fuzzy Dunlop, that X-Men is prettier than my wife. Ooh,
yeah. So yeah, let's see.
I'm super jealous of that Saga #1, by the way, because it's absolutely gorgeous. But I honestly haven't read. I don't read Marvel, or I don't want to say I don't read Marvel. I just never have. I've read a few books, trades here and there. Not because I like hate Marvel, because growing up I loved Spider-Man, I loved X-Men, the TV shows and stuff, and then the movies eventually. But I just never read Marvel comics.
Damn it! I just remembered one writer I totally left out.
Dude, you brought like 5 books.
I know, man.
Fine, but
and it was so obvious. Larry Hama, G.I. Joe. Damn it.
Brian K. Vaughan gets mentioned 2 weeks in a row. Good choice. Comic Bound picked
awesome.
Saga for his favorite writing. So Adam knows what's up. And Moonlit.
Yep.
Tynion is amazing. Damn Fuzzy. No, Tynion. I'm not huge on Something Is Killing the Children. I've read the first trade paperback, and I'm getting the second one. I enjoy it, and I think it's well done. And the things I've read of his, like, I enjoy Department of Truth more, I think. But I'm not as big on him as Brian K. Vaughan. I think as much as I've read anyway, I've read all of Why the Last Man, and Next
We Stand on Guard is pretty good. The Canadian.
I've heard that, and I'm getting Paper Girls next because of
that's fantastic some other, too.
You know, but Claremont, like I said, I don't know if I should just like buy an omnibus and just be like, that'll be my intro into Marvel. Is just, it's probably, I'm not buying singles now. There's no way, man. Those are crazy. But no, those are all great picks, man. You brought so much stuff. And when I decide to delve into the Star Wars comic world, I'll definitely hit you up, because I've tried a couple times and just bought a few, but it's so big now. Like, I don't even know where to begin. And like, I love the movies. I love Clone Wars is like one of my favorite TV shows. I love the animated show so much. It's so good, and like I want to get into comics, but it's so big at the point, you know. But
Star Wars is its own. It's like collecting all of Marvel, right? Collecting all of Star Wars, collecting
exactly.
all of DC. But you know, I'm really bummed that I did not just grab Larry Hama, because I'm still picking up GI Joe, and I didn't think about
So
that.
with GI Joe, I loved GI Joe, the TV series as a kid. I had GI Joes growing up. He's the original? Is he the same
Yes.
writer that's been doing it the whole time, right?
Yeah, for GI Joe, a real American hero, right? Because
Yeah.
there's been different versions. I will only buy Larry Hama GI Joe, and I
And
have
he's
almost.
still writing it today?
Yeah, he is.
That's so
So for
crazy.
IDW,
Wow.
I have almost the full run of the original, right? I have like 1 to 130 or whatever, and then and then there's like the UK versions, and then there's the special editions, and then there's the IDW publishing picked up where it ended with him and is continuing on. So
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's another one that I want to dive into at some point, but
yeah.
I will probably follow your lead and only go with that series, because again, it's like one of those things, like you want to get into this property, you know, whether it's Turtles or Transformers or GI Joe or whatever, and there's like 15 different options, and like you know, I know James Comic Deal isn't here right now, but you know, Usagi Yojimbo is another one that I'm trying to get into. So
yeah.
I'm trying to like ask him things about where to jump in and that kind of stuff. So okay, so a real American hero. I'll stick with that then.
Yeah.
Wow. Adam's mad. I didn't know I could pick as many as I want, though. I mean, Sith does what Sith wants. He's the Lord, so SithLordly. So we'll move on to the next one, which is a cool one for me. I think the next two are my favorite, but guilty pleasure. This could be something that no one else likes that you like, or just something you're not supposed to like that you like, or whatever you want. You know, whatever you want it
for you,
to be.
man.
Awesome.
Okay, so we've got from Matt Stacy, we have Hot Valley Days and Cocaine Nights.
Dude, I see this on my comic hub for my store, and I always want to pick it up, but I don't know anything about it.
All right, so Matt, who shared your post today, actually is going to be on Spine Ticks at some point. Awesome. He grew up where I live and wrote a story about life in the 80s in LA. And I mean, actually,
it just looks 80s. Like the whole thing is like neon and coke and like big
this
hair.
Was so difficult to acquire. I mean, you're talking almost like $100 per issue, right?
What?
Yeah, because it's Antarctic Press, right? So it's like, first of all, you can't even get it. You have to get it on the secondary market. Shout out to Pressable Defects, who brought this to everyone's attention.
Wow.
So Matt's going to be on the show soon. And, so I had to buy this to prepare. I actually haven't even read it yet because I want to read it closer to when he's on. And then we're actually going to do like a in-store signing and things like that in our area. So that's one of them, right? Great dude too. Like
that's awesome.
Good conversation.
I heard about that. I think on Pop Culture Philosophers, Robbie, Rock and Robbie, he mentioned the first issue and said that it was great, that it was really fun and it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and funny story. I was actually approached to be in an adult film in the 90s in the Valley, right, where that is, because I was going to record my demo, right, and this this young lady with what seemed to be like a pimp or something, like they pointed at me as I was walking towards the studio, and the dude pointed at me, and she went up to me and she was like, "Hi, my name is so and so, and I'm an actress." I'm like,
"My name is Candy. Can you come be in my movie?"
I was like, "Oh, that's great." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm shooting a film, and I was wondering if you might want to be in it with me." And I was like, "Oh," and she goes, "Yeah, it's an adult film." And I was like, here's my CD, right? I didn't know what to say to her. So it's just like stuff like that. The Valley is notorious for that.
Okay.
The second guilty pleasure would be this brand new series called Bloom, right?
Bloom.
Written by Ted Sikora. Ted Sikora wrote this. He's going to be on the show May 1st. And it's really awesome. Like if you like late 60s music, that lifestyle, Woodstock.
Oh, okay. It looks very Jerry Garcia, very Grateful Dead. Yeah.
It is. There's a lot of sensualism, some sort of mysticism. I don't know what's going to happen, but these
Have you
books
read
are.
these?
I have read these, and they're
Okay. All right.
fantastic. They're dope.
That's
So
awesome, man.
yeah, I would highly recommend those two. They kind of came to mind.
Okay, that's awesome. No, I
Yeah.
mean, that's the thing I like about guilty pleasure and hidden gem as those two sort of categories is like you find weird shit like that, and I love
Yeah.
that. I love weird shit like that. That's not not necessarily on everybody's radar. Damn, if I would have known that those were $100 a piece, I would have been picking them up for my LCS because they were definitely on the. I could have got them pulled. Okay.
No, I never even saw them at the LCS, man. I never saw them.
Now that you say that, I don't know if I remember seeing them on the app, and you could like add them to your pull list, but I don't know if I ever remember seeing them. Maybe they already got pulled up, or there was only 5 of them per store or something that.
When we have Matt on the show, bro, you're gonna have to like tune
Definitely.
in.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm interested to hear, and hopefully there's a trade coming out that we can
It will. I
get
think in July. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well then that moves us into hidden gem because this is similar to guilty pleasure, but hidden gem is, in my eyes, is something that not enough people talk about or you don't hear enough about. So, what do you got for us for hidden gem?
Okay, I brought 2 things because I wasn't sure if it was like something that, like you said, not enough people talk about, but I love, or if it's like a spec thing, right? So,
let's do both of them, man. Let's do whatever you want, man. Here's the great part about this show.
Such a ghost that I've only seen one person post about this on all of Instagram, and that was Andy with the Indie Spotlight. Okay. It's called Deep Blue, right? If you like AI against humans, like a Terminator kind of vibe, right? This is the book for you. It is on Mythos Entertainment, I believe. Yeah, I mean, like the publisher, like I posted this, I don't know, months ago, and the publisher just now saw that I did, right? They're very small. Okay. And I just stumbled upon this title, and it is so good that you see really I have multiple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've got one more issue coming out.
Wow.
It seems like it's like 4 months in between, between the issues. So that to me is like a hidden gem, just not monetarily, but because nobody is talking about this, and it's so good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've never heard of that. I think I've seen Mythos.
Here's part 2.
Oh, jeez. All right, let's highlight this guy. So this is your spec? Is this the spec hidden gem?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like if you want to talk about spec, right? Like I'm not big into spec. Like I'm not trying to make money off comics, but this seems so obvious to me that you have on Disney Plus all of these shows, right? You've got Squirrel Girl and Kamala Khan. And there's a whole series of comics. Have you ever seen these before?
I have not. Like I said, I don't read Marvel, so I don't know anything about these. Yeah.
If you go to Disney Plus, all of their like 20-minute cartoons have all of these characters. So what's going to happen if and when that ever like hits a bigger role? There's Captain Marvel, Squirrel Girl, Marvel Girl, right?
So, I mean, I'm seeing these, and they all say Rising. Is that like?
Yeah, that's the series.
Okay, that's the series. So it's like
America Chavez. I mean, this is basically where Marvel is going with these young characters, right? Like Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen. So to me, like hidden gem would be these kind of books here that I don't really see enough people posting about. The cartoons on Disney Plus are dope. I mean, they've already been made, so it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. And eventually those will pop. That someone will be like, "Hey, this one cartoon is getting a lot of views. Then we're going to need to start putting more money into it." And then
what if they work them into the MCU? Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Like or they just make them a bigger role in a a show or something, or start their own show.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know anything about Marvel, and like I said, it's not like I'm not anti-Marvel. I just never read it.
I prefer modern DC than Marvel, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. Like I still pull Batman. I haven't actually read like the last 10 Batman issues, but I'm still getting Batman, Nightwing. I really like Punchline. So
I honestly, I have the Batman main title pulled, but I don't read it as much as all of the side. I'm reading the Joker, and I love the White Knight stuff, and I love all that because I think as I've gotten more into comics, I just enjoy a good story
Yeah,
as not as opposed to like continuity. You know, like they just
right.
they have so many. Their hands are tied. Whereas, like, you know, with like White Knight or the Catwoman Batman stuff, you know, it's a 12-issue series, and like they can do their kind of their own thing. And I think that's, you know, to me, I like it more. But
and to answer Highland G's question,
yeah,
what I'm mostly reading, and I'm reading like 20 comic books a week, are the indie books, right?
yeah,
Because, you know, on Spine Ticks, we give our picks for indie books of what we like, and it's important to me that I not only buy them but that I read them, right? Because I'm not gonna like on Spine Ticks, we don't really talk about what we don't like. We only talk about what we like, because right, why waste the energy? So yeah, I read, you know, pretty much everything. I haven't gotten a chance to read those Marvel Risings, just too much stuff to read, but I love to read Bronze Age books, right? DC, Marvel, old stuff, and all of the new indie books. I'm not reading too many other like modern DC, modern Marvel right now.
I think in what we've talked about in this show is like being, you know, sort of a mood musician and a mood. I'm kind of a mood reader too. You know, like, I'll get really into one artist or one writer or one series and really get into it. But like last week, I caught up on a lot of like my pulls and stuff, but then I might not go for 2 weeks where I don't read anything new. So I'm just, you know, I'm kind of that way. I don't know if everyone's that way. J2 says I'm reading everything Batman, Urban Legends, Detective Black and White, Bat and Cat. I know, man. I just caught up on Joker, Bat, Catwoman. What's the other one? I pulled the Detective, but I haven't gotten to my LCS this week. So I usually go every 2 weeks just because.
Damn, bro, I gotta go like write it open, or the vultures take all the books, man. Like,
I'm lucky. I mean, there's a big comic book community, but it's not that big here in Kentucky. So,
bro, they're lining up before the doors open over here. Now, luckily, my LCS owner, he pulls just about everything I need and anticipates my needs. But there's some stuff, you know.
That's awesome.
Like, yeah. He's actually involved in the show as like a sponsor, which is cool.
That's so cool. Yeah, I've gotten to know the two guys that run the shop, my LCS, and they started pulling things for me that they're like, hey, if you want this, we pulled it for you just because we think you'll like it. And that's something that's really cool that, you know, back last time I was collecting, I never really got into one specific shop. And I think that's important for new people is like you get in your one shop and you get to know people and they'll start pulling things for you, which is cool because then if you miss the one issue that you're going to be pissed about that you have to pay 3 times the amount or whatever, you know, or more. So we just got Ultra Maximus. Hey, everyone.
There's my bro right there, man. Ultra Maximus. You need to be watching this guy. First of all, he does the Raw Report. Are you familiar with Ultra?
No.
This guy is the guy, man. He has his own channel where he runs the Raw Report, and then he's on other channels and he does the Spec Matrix and FOC. So books that are coming up and books that, like, he's talking about books that nobody else is. Like, this guy notices like variants, rare covers. Great dude. He usually chills on Spine Ticks later on Saturday nights with us.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you in here, Ultra. Thanks, man. Thanks for joining. All right. Well, that brings us to our last one. Our last category is going to be favorite currently reading. Now,
awesome.
I didn't really specify this in the text that I sent you, but this doesn't have to be, you know, currently coming out, just something that you're really into right now. And you've already brought multiples for every other category. So let's see what you brought for this category.
This blew my mind, man. From Bad Idea, indie book Tankers.
#1. Okay.
It is, you know, I mean, there's only been one issue, but man, it might be my favorite book of the year. You're talking about a combination of Jurassic Park, Aliens, Space Marines, and Back to the Future, right? So this, it's on Bad Ideas, the publisher, and I don't know how much you know about them, but it's very difficult to get their books. We've got to follow that up.
Yeah, I was going to say ENIAC. Yeah, that's all I know about Bad Idea at the moment. Look at you, man. Now you're just showing off. Jesus. So is #2 worth a lot? Because I could have picked that up off the shelf.
I think, I mean, obviously #1 is the one to get. #2 was a great read. So number one was my, I would say it's tied as my favorite read of the year.
Okay.
And if you remember the movie Scanners,
Yeah.
doesn't that look like Scanners? Like the dudes, like,
yep.
So I got the chance to interview this guy with Team Nerd Herd. Yeah, Matt Kent. So Team Nerd Herd was kind enough to let me sit in with them and interview Matt Kent.
Adam says sold. That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Happy to be here. You're the TV now. Matt Kent is someone who I heard of, obviously, for all of his work, and started watching some interviews with him when, ENIAC, and obviously Berserker is the big one that is, getting a lot of attention. But I haven't delved into any of his other work besides Berserker at the moment.
I have to share with you then a link to drop in the chat.
Okay.
This is myself on Team Nerd Herd asking Matt Kent some questions about Dungeons and Dragons, and him commenting on my beer drinking and things like that. So I think the chat would like that. It's like a 6-minute clip.
Yeah, no, for sure. I watched his interviews with Ross Ritchie and on a bunch of shows. And he sounds like he's right up my alley as well. And like I said, I picked up Berserker #1 just like everyone else, just to see what the hype was about. ENIAC I'd had no idea about until it was way too late. So, but yeah, it's another one of those ones that I want to check out because, as you described it, but I'm interested about Tankers. So who writes Tankers?
Tankers is written by Robert Venditti.
Robert Venditti. Okay, yeah.
And I'm not familiar with his work outside of this.
He does a lot of DC stuff, as far as I know.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he's done a bunch of like Green Lantern stuff.
Okay, cool. I like Green Lantern. But yeah, Juan Jose Rip and Andrew Dollhouse, they're all on the book there.
That's awesome, man.
It being a bad idea book, I was like, oh God, I got to get this thing. And it was so difficult to like I actually ordered this on Midtown because my LCS, I don't think they had this. So, you have to do a lot to try and get these bad idea books as a shop. Like, for instance, I paid $40 for a not first print on eBay just to get it and read it in time for the show. But then when my LCS finally got a #1, I only paid cover price. So it's like, cover price.
Real #1 for cover price? Wow.
Right. But $40 for the not first print.
Yeah.
Just because, we have a show on Saturday night and we want to make sure that we have the information to give to the chat.
This is my big issue with comics at the moment. And I think it's one of the things that, like, with spec and everything that's going on, is why I'm taking a break from a lot of floppies. Is it's gone so crazy that personally I want to read the story. Like, that's what I give a shit about. I enjoy the artwork on covers sometimes, but that's not really why I collect. I want to read the story. And the whole craziness, I don't know if it's just COVID and stuff, but like, it's insane. Like you said, you have people literally lining up, buying up shit before anybody can even get there, and then posting it on eBay 5 minutes later, which happened. The same thing happened with bourbon. Like, you can't get the good shit anymore. It is. I'm not even joking. Like,
so man, I got some bourbon. Keep talking.
So the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection, which is a special release that they do every year. Buffalo Trace is one of the biggest, bourbon distributors in Kentucky, but they do the antique collection, and every year it's a special release, and there's 4 different bourbons, and those bottles are retail price supposed to be like $150, and on the secondary market they go for $800-900. Like,
holy shit!
Oh yeah, this right here is a retail Blanton's, not anything crazy. Just a bottle of Blanton's is retail like $60, $65. And people sell these for $90 to $100. Like,
all right, Tyler, here's what I'm going to do. I've had some beers. I'm going to take a beer piss. I'm going to grab my bourbon.
Go ahead.
And I want your opinion when I come right back.
Yeah, for sure. I'll talk to Mind Management. Adam, I need to read Mind Management because I've heard that that's like his magnum opus or his master work, and that I really need to get into that for sure. TB, try Rounds Creek for your bourbon needs. I have a bottle of Rounds Creek downstairs. It's pretty good. I for the price, it's perfectly good. It's not my favorite in the world, but it's not bad at all. I've been to shit. What's the name of the distillery? I've been to their distillery and taken the tour. Ultra Maxima says Matt's writing and Clayton Crane's art on the Rye reboot and VI is one of my favorites. If you like Cyber Ninjas, is a recommended read. That's Valiant, right? Yeah, Rye is Valiant. I haven't ever read any Valiant. Not because I'm anti-Valiant, but like I said, one of the reasons for doing this show is to find out a bunch of stuff that I missed, because over the years I've been so like, I started out as like, oh, I only want to read Batman, and that's the only character that I like, and I don't want to get into any of these indies because they're not as good as DC or Marvel or whatever. And then I really opened my eyes to a bunch of stuff and how much good stuff there is out there. So I'll definitely try anything. And if it's Matt Kent writing Rye, I have heard him talking about it and would love to check it out. Let me jump, back here and see if we have any comments I missed. This is Rebel Yell. Which one is that? Hold on, let me highlight this guy, because there's a bunch of different ones. Oh, that's the old one.
Yeah.
What year is that from?
I want to say it's like 4 years ago. That's why I haven't opened it, man. Because they don't make this label anymore with the cab soldier.
Yeah, I've got a bottle of Rebel Yell, but they make like 10 different versions, or 10 different expressions is what they call.
I was telling you backstage.
People keep collecting the letters on Blanton's keeps me from getting any. Yeah, so if you don't know, let me show you real quick. So on a bottle of Blanton's.
Oh, damn, look at that.
Have you ever seen one of these? Yeah, so the topper is a horse. And you see right there, there's a letter. See that A? Right there?
Yeah.
So there's an A right there. If you collect all of them, they spell out Blanton's.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and they're different toppers, and it is a horse in stride. And so they're all different. So you get them in a line, and you spell out Blanton's, and the horse is running. Wow. So my dad has all of them, and he has it on a little display with a bourbon stave and all that stuff. And
what did you say that costs? Like if you just buy an average bottle?
Retail price of this is supposed to be like $65 to $70, depending on where you buy it. $60 to $70 is the retail price for this. But on the secondary market, it's $90, $100, $120. I don't know. I stopped buying bourbon because all the bourbon that's good gets bought up.
Look at Ultra, man. Because he's on a show called
Chat Daily Reading Edition. Yeah. This is amazing.
He's on a show called Drunken Chat, which kicks off tonight in about 3 hours. And they were like doing the Spine Ticks format before Spine Ticks was. They go for like 6, 7, 8 hours. And and so we learned from the best of them. But Ultra is somebody you need to get to know.
I'll definitely get him on. Yeah.
So Ultra and I had a backstage chat with Real Rude and some other dudes. It was so inspiring that I've been buying Indiana Jones books all week.
I saw.
We were talking about like world exploration and all this stuff, and Ultra moves the market just by talking.
The first 3 Indiana Jones, which are the real Indiana Jones, are like 3 of my most watched movies. Like it's my comfort movie where I just, if I'm trying to go to sleep at night, I'll just put on one of those 3, and I'll just, because I love that whole like explorer history, sort of mentality and or I don't know, storyline. It's so great. But yeah, Indiana Jones is one of my all-time favorite movie genres, and the 4th one is not real to me, but whatever. So yeah, man, that this is the show. I'm extremely honored to have you on, Sith. I appreciate everything you do for the community, because not just for me. I mean, I see you, like I said, I see you in the chats all the time. I see you jumping in and just saying, hey, what's up? I see you sharing people's stuff on Instagram. And things like that, really, especially someone like me who's new and just trying to get their footing, is really appreciated. And I think that it's a recipe for success in the future, you know, keeping this going. I think that's the great thing about our community, is everybody just kind of is very welcoming and wants to just hang out and talk about nerdy shit, you know. And it's funny because I learned a ton about you and stuff that I've never heard you talk about.
You're the exclusive, man.
I know, man. It's great, and I love these little chats because I'm finding more about you. I'm finding more about other stuff, you know, other series, other artists, other writers. You know, you're introducing me to all this stuff, so I really appreciate it. Please shout out your Instagram, your YouTube, what you're going to be on. You're going to be on SpineTix tomorrow, right? So shout that all out.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me on, man. I mean, you and I connected as Kentucky brothers, right? And I've just loved this whole, like, the UK community has been awesome, and you're part of that too. So I'm honored to be here, and I genuinely love the comic community. I believe in reciprocating the support. You know, so I always want to be there in the chats to support everybody. And again, like, you know, Ultra is a great guy, a great example of that. Lon Espinoza, someone I met from Lords of the Long Box, right? J2 is my homie for life. Highland G, thanks for hanging in there, man, and watching it. So you can find me on Instagram as SithLordly. I have a very small YouTube channel, which is SithLordly YouTube channel, which is really just like clips of SpineTix. So so for YouTube, it's SpineTix. That's a show I produce. My main man, Azor's Tiger, he's my partner, and we started that channel. We got all the homies with us, right? We got T Ravis, who lives in Kentucky.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. T Ravis is from Kentucky.
So you got to meet up with that guy. We got Phil Comics Talk Weekly. We've got Shadow Rabbit Lewis, who was in here, the Claymaker. We've got Geek Driven. We got Fantasy World Games. So, you know, we're all on SpineTix. That's tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Pacific time every Saturday. And then as far as, you know, behind the scenes, Lady SithLordly and Moonlit Comics, they help us so much, you know, with the behind the scenes stuff. I see Glenn 2K in there, man. This is a day one SpineTix guy. So thanks for stopping by. Yeah, man, just anybody just hit me up, you know, on Instagram or YouTube. I'm always happy to support and interact. Definitely. Just love the community.
Well, and that's one of the things with this show. If anybody's just tuning in for the first time, after the show, anybody's welcome to jump in the backstage. I'm going to be hanging out. Anybody else that wants to jump in and hang out in the backstage, just shoot me a message on Instagram. I'll shoot the link and we can hang out off stream. So, you know, there's no worry. You don't have to be camera ready or any of that stuff. So I really appreciate everyone in the chat. Thank you, Sith, again. Thank you, Lady Sith, for holding it down, as always. Anybody that wants to jump in, shoot me a message on Instagram. We'll jump in the backstage and hang out and talk bourbon, anything you want to talk about. But I appreciate you guys for watching. Check out Sith. Check out me on TB Collects on Instagram. We'll see you next time, guys. And peace.